I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included.
This is a doozy of a clip. The clip I'm getting ready to show you is Steve Bannon on a stage, behind a podium, with a microphone in his face, recording what he's saying, and a camera recording what he's saying, admitting that he's committing crimes for Donald Trump. Admitting. He's already admitted many times that there is a plot to get Donald Trump into office a third time. Clear, sheer, wanton violation of the United States Constitution and the 22nd Amendment, which forbids someone for 3 terms in the White House. There's all kinds of things that he's been pardoned by Donald Trump or sentence commuted. Like, he has committed crimes. He has been brought to trial. There have been cases against him for defrauding donors of the build the wall thing. All kinds of stuff has gone on with Steve Bannon. So it's not surprising to me that he is here admitting that if Democrats come back into power, he's going to prison. The question it just comes to mind, it's just a natural, the water flowing downhill is just the natural thing that you would ask is, why would you go to prison? What crimes have you committed that you will be investigated and prosecuted and, if found guilty, sentenced for? What are the crimes? I think we all should be asking that question, because it's not just Steve Bannon who would be in this situation. Also, the other thing, maybe I'll talk about this at the end. I'll talk about that at the end. Watch this clip from Steve Bannon admitting to crimes in the service of Donald Trump.
And I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. They're not going to stop. They are getting more and more and more radical. And we have to counter that. And what do we have to counter it with? We have to counter it with more action, more intense action, more urgency. We're burning daylight. If you look across every aspect of this, we have to codify what President Trump has done by executive order, right? We have to codify it. And people say, well, they're just going to be messing bills and pass Senate. We got to put aside these structural barriers and get on with it. President Trump today gave to the Senate when they came over for breakfast. Even Lindsey Graham, some of the guys that liked, and some of these institutions, I understand. This is a very tough decision to make. And you're going to see some people in the conservative movement that not in a million years, because I talked to them today, quite frankly, I had Hawley on the show this morning. Josh Hawley, and he's talking about it, and I'm trying to play the institution. Well, they called me up this afternoon and said, let's go through the 10 reasons we need to do it, and these are heavy hitters on what I would call the constitutional, the limited government constitutionalist in our movement. And they're about to come out over the next couple of days and make this argument, because it said, look, we have to understand that if we don't take this to the maximum, a maximalist strategy now with a sense of urgency, and in doing this seize the institutions, if we don't do that now, we're going to lose this chance forever, because you're never going to have another Trump, right? You're just not going to have it.
Look, when the atmosphere and the current reality of Democrats appointing people like Merrick Garland to be the Attorney General of the United States, if this is what we have to look forward to, nobody's getting prosecuted. He's not going to jail. They couldn't even get Donald Trump in jail. And there were clear crimes, enormous crimes that Donald Trump committed. Violations of national security, absconding with national security secrets, attempting to overthrow the United States government by way of overturning a free and fair election. He tried to overthrow the government, and he didn't get prosecuted because Merrick Garland, a Democrat, wanted to appear. We want to appear unbiased. Merrick Garland put Republicans in charge of the prosecution of Hunter Biden. Tell me again how Steve Bannon's so afraid of going to prison, and ostensibly what he's suggesting is it will be improper. It will be weaponization. Now I will tell you right now, as God is my witness, if we lose the midterms and we lose 2028, some in this room are going to prison, myself included. Why would that be, Steve Bannon? Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. The translation is they're guilty. They know they're guilty. That's what you can read into this, that he is broadcasting that he's committing crimes for Donald Trump. The scary thing is we don't know exactly what those crimes are yet, because he does work in secret and in tandem with other groups like the Heritage Foundation, Kevin Roberts' little outfit, that brought to us Project 2025 that 50% of is already almost put into place. They're firing thousands of federal workers. They are doing enormous, irreparable damage to this country. Maybe not irreparable literally, but it's going to take a generation to undo what was done in Donald Trump's just first 9 months, because they are emboldened. And the reason they're emboldened, I was going to end, but here we are. The reason they're emboldened is because of feckless prosecutors and attorneys general like Merrick Garland. We need to handle these criminals like Brazil did with Bolsonaro, like South Korea did with their leader who attempted an insurrection against the government. We need to handle our lawbreakers who have power like any other criminal. Investigate, bring them to trial, and prosecute them. And if a jury of their peers sees fit, you send them to prison. That's what you do in a system that is based on the rule of law. And unfortunately for them, fortunately maybe because Democrats are so weak in this area so often, the Constitution lays it out. This is the rule of law. This is not just a roadmap. These are mandatory things that we must do as a civil society that is based on laws. You would think that Republicans, the same Republicans that pull this document out of their pocket that's all tattered, I read this all the time, just like the family Bible. That's why it's so ready to fall apart, because it's so well used. The same Republicans that are those Republicans don't have anything to say about attempting to overthrow the United States government, usurping the will of the people, disenfranchising you, or attempting to do so. While Donald Trump pardons nearly 2,000 violent insurrectionists. I hope you do go to prison, Steve Bannon. And if I can have anything to do with that, somebody call me. I will step into my role. This non-attorney will help. Anyway, what do you think? I invite you to this conversation. Let's have it in the comments below. You can also call the voicemail line, 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. It has been a great week back since our trip to Japan. Thank you very much for joining me and engaging with my content. As a favor to me and to yourself, make sure you're subscribed to Garrison Hayes' show on YouTube. We'll put a link below. Make sure you're subscribed to Boston Bryan's show, Blunt Politics. Both people do fantastic work in independent media. Both people were gracious enough and willing enough to step in and guest host this program. So I didn't leave you in the lurch for an entire week and more while I was gone. And I think you'll be better off for subscribing to them and consuming their content as well. I don't look at this job as competition. More voices are better. We're trying to change the heart and soul of America, and we need as many people on board with that message as we can. And those are two great ones. Anyway, I love and appreciate you very much. Again, have a great weekend. I'll see you next time. Be genuine and take care of one another.